But looking at the chart, and again, we started with this yesterday. Question B tells me to use X for the number of meters, Y for the number of kilometers. So I did put an X and Y on top of there. That should help you write the equation. But the first step is complete the table. So how do I get from 1,000 to 1? Brody.
Divide by 100.
Not divide by 100. Divide by 1,000. So I'm dividing by 1,000 or multiplying by 1 over 1,000. Both those are the same thing. Okay, so what is 3,500 divided by 1,000?
3.5.
3.5 is correct. I'm moving the decimal 3 spots to the left. That's true for all of them when you divide by 1,000. Next one. Maverick?
0.5.
0.5. Again, moving the decimal 3 spots to the left. Next one. Sophia?
0.07.
Correct. 1. Jonas?
0.001.
Okay. Again, or if you want to prefer a fraction, that's fine too. And X. Still dividing it by 1,000. Kinley?
0.001x.
Or 1 over 1,000 X, or X divided by 1,000. All those would be fine. All right, use X for the number of meters, Y for the number of kilometers. So when I told you yesterday to write the equation, I said always write whatever letter is represented over here. What variable is represented on the second column? It's a Y, right? Told me kilometers is Y. So I'm gonna put Y equals. I'm gonna write the constant of proportionality. What's the constant of proportionality? What is the number to the right of the 1? You just told me it right here, right? Fraction or decimal is up to you. Which one do you want to use? Fraction, all right. And then you write whatever variables in the first column. So there's your equation. Question number 2. Concrete blocks weigh 28 pounds. Using B for the number of concrete blocks, W for weight, write 2 equations. One's going to be W equals, one's going to be B equals. Okay, write 2 equations. So if I were to buy 1 block, how much would it weigh? 28 pounds. If I were to buy 2 blocks, how much would it weigh? 56 pounds, right? 28 and 28. Now don't have to tell me to answer this, but how would I figure out if I had bought 50 blocks? How would I figure out how much 50 blocks weigh? 50 times 28, right? So to get my weight, I'm taking 28 times how many blocks I buy. And what does it say to use for number of blocks that I buy? What letter? Use B for the number of concrete blocks. So there's your first equation. Once you have one equation, remember we talked about rules yesterday. How do you get the other one? Kellen. Okay, you swap the variables. And what do you do with the constant of proportionality, Kellen? You reciprocal. It's a reciprocal of 28. 1 over 28. So those are your 2 equations. Question 3. A rope or a store sells a rope by the meter. The equation P equals 0.8 L represents the price P in dollars of a piece of nylon rope that is L meters long. How much does a nylon rope cost per meter? Okay, so this one is telling you that in the equation. It's telling you the cost per length by looking at the equation. Rylan, what number does it tell you in the equation? Okay, so how does that represent money? 80 cents. Okay, again, it tells me right here that it is 80 cents per meter. So every meter you buy costs 80 cents. So if I have $1, how much rope can I get? More or less than a meter? Should be more, because you just told me it was 80 cents a meter, right? How can I figure out exactly how much? Yep.
You divide.
Divide. $1 divided by 80 cents. How many 80 cents goes into $1? Okay, move the decimal 2 spots. Move the decimal 2 spots. The decimal is here. So 80 into 100. Once. 80 into 200. 2. 80 into 400. Okay? What does that mean? 1.25 what? Dollars? Yeah, meters, right? How long is the rope? So that is in meters. All right, question number 4. Table represents a proportional relationship. Find the constant of proportionality, write the equation. So what are you doing to all the numbers on the left to get the numbers on the right? Okay, and I would suggest looking at the whole numbers. How do I get from 3 to 1? How do I get from 12 to 4? Divide by 3 or times a third, right? Divide by 3 or times a third. So now I got to do that to the 1. I told you to add that 1 underneath there. So what's 1 times a third, Jada? 1/3. So that tells me my constant of proportionality, and now my equation becomes pretty simple. It's y equals, that's what's in the second column. Constant of proportionality, you just told me was 1/3. What letter goes last? What variable? A. That's what's in the first column. There's your equation. Question number 5. Select all the statements that are true, that are the same scale. So 1 centimeter equals 100 meters. Well, how do I get from 1 to 5? Multiply by 5. Is 100 times 5 50? No, that one's out. Let's look at B. 1 millimeter. Okay, so let's just make a note of how many millimeters is 10 centimeters. 1 centimeter, I mean. Okay, that's the same as 10 millimeters. So how do I get from 10 millimeters to 1 millimeter? Divide by 10. Is 100 divided by 10? 10. Yes, so that one should be included. That is the same thing. Okay, next one. What's different about this one? Has a larger number first. Not a big deal. How do I get from 100 meters to a kilometer? What's that? Times 10. Add a 0. 1,000 meters is a kilometer. So I'm adding a 0. So if I add a 0 to 1 centimeter, or take it times 10, do I get 10? Yeah, that one should be included. Last one. How do I get from 1 centimeter to 100 centimeters? Times 100. Is 100 times 100 1? No. That one's out. So your answer should be B and C on that one.